Welcome back from that short break. You're still watching New Vision TV News. We now take a look at the news in business.
In business today, the first ever Qatar trade mission in Uganda is opened today at the Kampala Sheraton Hotel. The two-day meeting follows President Yoweri Museveni's visit to Qatar in 2017, through which he urged Qatari investors to visit Uganda. The meeting is expected to be attended by about 15 Qatari companies from different sectors that include construction, food processing, pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, packaging, and logistics. Gideon Badagawa, Executive Director of the Private Sector Foundation, called upon the Ugandan private sector to take the initiative of learning from the Qatari companies on how they have been able to sustain their production. Qatar currently enjoys a trade surplus with Uganda, according to Simon Ajiku, acting head of mission at the Uganda Embassy in Qatar. Ajiku said Uganda's exports to Qatar increased from $386,000, which is about 1.4 billion shillings in 2016, to $8.6 million, which is 31.8 billion Uganda shillings in 2017. Uganda majorly exported coffee. Charles Ochichi, an enterprise development expert, says that for more citizens to pay taxes freely, they must realize the benefits reflected in better public service delivery. He observes that to widen the tax base and set higher targets and actualize them, systems must be working to the expectations of the masses. Uganda Revenue Authority has always been working under intense pressure to hit different tax revenue collection targets through getting many people into the payers bracket. The ambitious plans may not yield impressive results if no effort is made to improve public service delivery. According to the 2014 Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Uganda's informal sector employs over 70% of the total labor force. It is therefore not surprising that Uganda's tax to GDP ratio stands at a paltry 15.1%.
Thank you, Lynn, for the news in business. We move on to our Daily Pile of Africa series. Today we look at Mount Elgon National Park. Mount Elgon National Park is found in Uganda at the eastern border near Kenya. The national park covers the beneath of Mount Elgon, which was formed after a volcanic eruption. Hiking, trekking, camping are some of the activities you can indulge in while at this national park. Let's take a look.
Mountain Elgon National Park lies on the slopes of Mountain Elgon. The mountain is found in the eastern part of Ugandan site to first erupted more than 24 million years ago. The Bagisu and the Sabine are the two ethnic tribes that occupy most parts around the mountain. Mountain Elgon National Park harbors various animals and not forgetting plants that bring life to the slopes of Mountain Elgon. It supports a rich variety of altitudinal vegetation zones that range from lush montana mixed bamboo belt to mention but a few. The main tourist attraction here is hiking as hikers engage with a spectacular scenery striving to reach the mountain's highest peak known as Wagagai. The Elgon area has 9 basic campsites to offer, located at strategic points along the trekking routes. While at the park, you cannot miss seeing the unique Sipi waterfalls and the ancient enormous Stone Age cave paintings. For more Pile of Africa stories, visit our website, which is newvision.co.ug/Pile of Africa.
For more Pearl of Africa stories, visit our website, which is newvision.co.ug/Pearl of Africa. A newspaper, The Sunday Vision, is also another home of adventures, so grab your copy every Sunday for Pearl of Africa stories. We now move on to our special report today. 7 months after February 1997 killing of the Anglican Archbishop Janan Lumo, Minister Oboth Ofumbi and the Inspector General of Police, Erinayo Oriema, Uganda's military government did what appeared to be the final mop-up of any voices and faces that disapproved its ways. New Vision TV reveals the events of that day.
On the afternoon of September 9th, 1977, 12 men were marched to Kampala's landmark clock tower, where they were blindfolded and tied to trees. Religious leaders were brought to prepare them for their final journey. After the solemn religious rituals, it was the medical doctor's turn to locate and put a mark where the heart of each man and to provide the hooded marksman with a bullseye for aiming. Then the gruesome exercise got underway. There was silence, then volley after volley of bullets rang out. But it did not go smoothly. Before the doctor could go over all the men to confirm they were dead, one candidate was obviously not in need of examination. While 11 had slumped forward, with their heads now hanging downward, one man remained standing, apparently missed by the bullets. Even in its brutality, the military observed certain standards in execution, and only one gun had live ammunition. The rest of the firing squad firing blanks for sound effect. Fresh commands were given. The soldiers took aim again. The man joined the rest. 12 months later, the war that was to remove the military regime started in northern Tanzania. Those killed in full view of the crowd included the former chairman of the Public Service Commission, Abdallah Anyuru, the former superintendent of prison in charge of Mbuku Farm, John Kabandize, former superintendent of prison headquarters, Ian Mutabazi, former principal officer, Murchison Bay Prison in Nuzira, Peter Otoa, the former assistant commissioner of police, under secretary, Minister of Internal Affairs, Daniel Nsereko, and former military intelligence officer in the Malari Regiment, Lieutenant Ben Ogwang. The others killed were a former inspector of schools, Ministry of Education, Y.Y. Okot, whose signature graced the instruction of many official school textbooks. The former senior industrial relations officer in the Ministry of Labour, John Leji Olobo, former general manager, Lake Victoria Bottling Company, Elias Okidi Menya, a former teacher at Lira Polytechnic Institute, Julius Peter Adupa, former principal, Bobby Foundation School, Garrison S. Onono, and a businessman, Ben Ongom. The evening after the massacre, Life President Idi Amin came out on radio amid international condemnation and termed the killing as a staunch warning to potential others.
We'll do everything possible with the support of Uganda if they wanted to be free, if they wanted Uganda to be called as a Pearl of Africa.
Abdallah Anyuru had been appointed chairperson of the Public Service Commission by then President Milton Obote in the 1960s. He had in 1970 introduced 26-year-old Yoweri Museveni to President Milton Obote, thus getting the future president a job of researcher in the president's office. However, Museveni would only work there for some months before his new boss, President Obote, was overthrown in the January 25, 1971 military coup by his army commander, Idi Amin. Obote, who was in Singapore attending a Commonwealth meeting, opted to take refuge in Tanzania, where his friend Julius Nyerere was president. Museveni, who was also personally well known to Nyerere, who had noticed him as an active student at Dar es Salaam University, also went to Tanzania to engage in activities aimed at removing Amin. Attempts to attack Amin's forces started, but the one in September 1972 was disastrous. Of these 700 fighters who invaded up to Mbarara, only 40 survived. Former Information Minister among them were captured and executed on Amin's orders. After that invasion, Amin became increasingly suspicious of Obote's former officials who were living in Uganda. He suspected they were recruiting and sending fighters to Tanzania. Many were arrested and killed over the years. The finally recorded public executions were those of September 1977, which were followed by a one-year lull that ended with a final war that ended Amin's 8-year rule. Perhaps relatives of those executed by the firing squad were the lucky ones. They knew openly that their kin had been executed. But there are many others whose relatives disappeared during Amin's reign and have never been seen alive. Hundreds others were tortured to death in various military and security facilities. It is estimated more than 300,000 were killed during Amin's 8-year rule.
And that is all we had for you today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch these updates and other programs here on New Vision TV by visiting our website, which is newvision.co.ug/video. You can also follow us on social media. Facebook is the New Vision, Twitter is @NewVisionY, Instagram is @NewVisionY, and our YouTube channel is New Vision TV. Catch up with me on my Twitter handle. I am Ruth the Voice. I have to say good night, but let me end with a fact file.